Hey, how's it going everybody? I'm Mike, and in today's video we're going to be talking about what backpackers hate the most, which is people who think they know everything about backpacking, but have never actually backpacked. Oh wait, that's me. No, just kidding. We're going to be talking about backpacking gear needs versus wants, and how comparing the two can make you a better backpacker. So if you're fairly new to backpacking, or if you want to shed a few pounds from your pack, then this video will be right up your alley. So I'm fairly new to backpacking as well, but I've done a lot of research on gear, and I've looked at my gear really closely over the last year, and I think I've made a lot of progress on dialing it in, and I want you to be able to do the same. So first I want to talk about my first and only backpacking experience. It's a little embarrassing to talk about, but I think it's a good learning experience for all of us. So me and a couple friends were going out to Pedernales Falls State Park. They have some primitive sites out there that are a 2-mile hike in. So I was carrying my Osprey Ether 60. This pack had so much gear in it. All of it was crazy heavy. Not only that, but I was carrying around an HEB bag in my hands that had my day pack in it and a bunch of other gear. It was ridiculous. I was thinking, what are you doing? You obviously don't know what you're doing. But I don't want you to make the same mistake. So I have a bunch of gear laid out here, and we're going to go over it. On your left, we have things that I need while I'm out backpacking, things that will keep me comfortable and safe and happy out there and have a successful trip. On your right is gear that you may want, but you don't necessarily need out on the trail. It's stuff that I've decided not to bring with me, and stuff that I'm most likely just going to keep at home. So there's four items that I want to go over first that you'll actually need out there, but there's ways to go about them to make sure that you're keeping your pack weight down and staying comfortable and you're going to be happy. So the first thing is the tent. What I use now is the REI Quarter Dome 1 tent. It's a freestanding tent that weighs 2.5 pounds. This tent's great. It keeps me warm, dry, and safe. I've used it a few times. Colorado, it was awesome. What I don't want you to do is go with something like this. This is what I brought out on my Pedernales trip. This is a 2-person North Face tent that is 5.5 pounds, so 3 pounds heavier than the REI Quarter Dome 1. I thought it would be nice to have a little bit more room, but really I was just, it just made me extremely uncomfortable during the hike in. Like half a mile in, my shoulders were hurting, my back was hurting. It was a mess. So the second item of the four I want to go over is what you'll be sleeping in. So most of the time, 3 seasons out of 4 in Texas, you can get by with just like a sleeping bag liner. So I have a Sea to Summit Reactor sleeping bag liner here that weighs 9.4 ounces. Other than winter, you don't need something like this. This is an REI Co-op sleeping bag, 600 fill down, goose down sleeping bag that weighs 1.5 pounds. So 9.4 ounces versus 1.5 pounds. You make the decision. I think it's pretty easy. The third item is a sleeping pad, so like what you'll be sleeping on. I use the Nemo Astro Light. This is a non-insulated sleeping pad. Makes a little bit of noise when you move around on it, but my friends said that they weren't really bothered by it. So I love it. It packs down really small and is really lightweight. This thing is, 1 pound. This thing is 1 pound. So go with something like that, or you can make a terrible decision and go with something like this. This is a Sea to Summit self-inflating pad. This thing weighs 1.5 pounds, so 1 pound versus 1.5 pounds. You can save half a pound by just choosing the right sleeping pad. Like this thing Also massive. I can't even get it back in its stuff sack. I never have, ever since I took it out. So make the right decision there. The fourth and last main item I want to talk about before we get into all the smaller gear is a cooking pot. So the cooking pot I use now is the Toaks 750 mil. This pot weighs 3.4 ounces. It boils well over, a cup of water, 2 cups of water probably for your dehydrated meals. What I brought out on my Pernalis trip, and I don't recommend, is something like this. This is the GSI Outdoors cooking pot. It's 1.8 liters. I don't know why you would need to boil like half a gallon of water out there. It's completely unnecessary. This thing weighs 9.5 ounces, so 3.4 ounces versus 9.5 ounces. You make the decision. I think it's pretty easy. So those are the 4 main items I wanted to go over, and now I'll go into some of the smaller items, and we'll kind of do a compare and contrast of items that I feel like I need out on the trail and items that I want, or why these items are better than these. So let's see. First thing, gas canister. Like, why go with the larger gas canister when you could go with a smaller gas canister? This depends on how many days you're going to be out there backpacking, but most of the time this will get you through like at least a week or a few days, so you don't need the bigger gas canister. I guess we'll stick with food. I have my Toaks long-handled spoon, titanium spoon. This thing's super lightweight. You would want to go with something like that compared to something like this. This is kind of like a Swiss Army knife, has a fork, knife, and spoon, but weighs a ton comparatively. So over here, I have something that I also decided not to take. This goes around another cooking pot I have, the GSI Minimalist, which is a crazy light, awesome pot, but it comes with this like insulating sleeve. It will be nice if you want to try to keep, if you cook in your pot, like your actual food in your pot, and you want to keep that food warmer, or maybe it takes a little bit longer to rehydrate. This thing could be nice, but I don't think I will ever use it, since I just typically transfer the water straight into the meal. And speaking of meals, you can make better decisions on what you bring food-wise to try to save weight. So something like dehydrated meals are a good way to go. 1 serving is typically enough for me. If you need more calories, maybe a 2-serving one. But this uses like no water, 325 mils of water. So also like calorie dense foods are really good. So I have like a Bobo's bar here. It's really high calorie, protein, really great trail food. And then I guess lastly, I also decided to bring this little pot grabber that came with the GSI Minimalist, just so I can grab the pot when it's hot. It's made out of silicone and it weighs almost nothing, so I think it's worth bringing around. If you don't want to bring that, maybe just use a shirt or a bandana to pick up your pot. Here's my stove. This is what is this? This is the Pocket Rocket, sorry. So you can make a better option on your stove by going with something like this versus maybe something like a Jetboil. A Jetboil is great if you just absolutely must boil your water in the shortest amount of time possible, but I don't find that completely necessary, and this gets the job done and boils water in like 2 or 3 minutes, so I can wait that extra minute or 2. So next I have a headlamp. This is the Black Diamond Storm. I actually want to change this out for the Black Diamond Spot just to save a couple ounces, but a headlamp is something that you absolutely need out on the trail. What you may not want to do is carry around something like this. This is just a little Black Diamond lantern. I've thought about taking it on some backpacking trips, but really it's something unnecessary unless you just absolutely need light in your campsite at night. Like I was thinking about maybe shooting some film at camp at night, and I thought about bringing this for some light, but I'll probably not bring it the next time around and just not film at night because it's not going to be very good quality anyways. Next to the water filter, I want to talk a little bit about that. So I actually have my lightest water filter. Actually, the lightest water filter is this LifeStraw, but it's just not gonna be very feasible out on the trail. You have to be by a water source to actually use it, and I don't think it's as good a quality as something like a Sawyer or a Katadyn or something like that. But I was thinking about bringing this guy. This is, I don't even have it out of the package yet. This is the Sawyer Mini. So this is actually lighter weight and smaller than what I am actually going to bring, which is just the Sawyer Squeeze. But I made this decision because the Sawyer Squeeze has a better flow rate and it's just more reliable according to all the reviews I've read. So I kind of made the decision to go with something a little bit heavier just to have something reliable on the trail, and you need water out there, so I think that was a good decision. I also decided to carry a dirty Sawyer water bag, and then I cut down a water bottle to help scoop up water and pour it in the bag, or to help catch it from like a small waterfall or something like that. Next, we'll talk about my first aid kit. So there's a couple items in here that I think you really need to have. One is like a backup lighter for your stove. A lot of stoves have like a self-igniter, but mine pretty much stopped working after like the second or third click. So I carry around a mini Bic lighter in my first aid kit, or my cooking pot or something like that, to make sure I can light my stove and cook my dinner at the end of the night. What you may not want to do is carry around a full-size Bic lighter, just unnecessary. Get the smaller one. The other things in a first aid kit that I bring that I think are kind of important are a compass. I feel like you should have at least like 2 ways to navigate, whether that be a map and a compass, or a compass and an app like AllTrails or Maprika or Caltopo. There's a lot of great ones out there, but I feel like you should have at least 2 ways to navigate on the trail. In case one of them, like your map gets wet or you lose it, or your phone dies and won't turn back on, you can still have a way to figure out where you need to go. Third thing is a little whistle. Most packs kind of come with a whistle on the pack, but it sucks and isn't very loud. So I have this little emergency whistle that weighs nothing. And then I have, your other typical things in here, like alcohol wipes, some gauze, some tape, and just a couple Band-Aids. What you shouldn't do is buy something like I did, which is just your pre-made first aid kit, and just take that. There's way more stuff in there than you actually need, and this is everything that I took out of my first aid kit that was just like a multiple or something that I just don't need. Probably weighs like a whole ounce. I know that's not much, but every ounce counts while you're out there. A little compass that it came with. So I took all that stuff out, and it's going to save me a little bit of space and weight. I think it's worth it. Next is you gotta go to the bathroom out on the trail, right? So I have like a little bathroom kit. I have the Deuce of Spades trowel, so I dig my cat hole. I have toilet paper, hand sanitizer, and some tissues. I would recommend just bringing a small roll of toilet paper. Do not bring an entire freaking roll of toilet paper. I mean, geez, people, we're in a toilet paper crisis right now. It's unnecessary. Like, I know you want to just like pack everything in your pack right before you leave to make sure you have everything you need out on the trail, but take the time to just take a few sheets off and don't take the whole dang thing. That's ridiculous. I don't typically need this in Texas, but you may need some bear spray. So I have that here. And then electronics, I have a power bank here. Want you to see how it compares to this one. This one's like a 800 milliamp power bank, and will get the job done typically for like a 2 or 3 day trip. Most of the time this is all I need. This is like a 12,000 milliamp power bank. I don't need this most of the time. It weighs, a few ounces more, so why not just leave it at home and just take the smaller one. I've decided to carry also this little Nikon lens pen. Helps me keep my camera clean, which I'm shooting with. It's the Canon PowerShot SX740. So that's been really useful. I also carry 2 tripods. I'm filming with one of them now. It's not the best, not the lightest, but it's really easy to use, and I'm actually going to get a lighter one soon. But I got this recently. I really love this. Is the Joby GorillaPod 325. This thing weighs like 2 ounces or 3 ounces or something. It's really lightweight and really moldable. You can wrap it around trees and whatever you need to do with it. I use this actually more than my regular tripod just because it's so easy to use. Let's see. I also carry around, a small micro USB cable and 4 batteries. Do not bring anything that uses D batteries. What are you doing? Why would you carry anything that uses D batteries? Do you have like a fan in your backpack? I don't know. What are you doing? Don't bring an entire pack of batteries either. All you need is 4, maybe 6, depending on what you're carrying. But I just carry 4 extra ones for my headlamp because, like I said, a headlamp is a necessity. I also carry around a little field book in case I want to make some notes and complain about the trail. Not kidding. Love every minute out there. Pen to write with. What else? Some electronics on this side, things you may want but don't really need. Especially something like this. This is a solar charger. This thing probably weighs like 1.5 pounds. It's crazy heavy. Would maybe be awesome for car camping to like charge your phone if you're hanging out by the river, something like that. But listen to this. Yeah, don't bring that. It's way too heavy. There's small speakers that you could bring, like portable speakers. I don't think that's necessary. Bring some headphones if you really want to listen to music or a podcast or something like that. I don't bring a speaker. Some other goofy things are binoculars. Unless you're a birder, a serious birder, I don't know why you would bring binoculars because they weigh about 1 pound or so. A pillow. That's kind of an debatable thing. So I've decided not to bring a camping pillow because my sleeping pad that I use has a built-in pillow, and I've used this a couple times. This is the Sea to Summit Aeros. It's pretty awesome for what it is, but it does kind of slide around a lot. I've seen people actually like stretch a shirt over the top of their pad and this to keep it in place. Hey Marty. But I don't need it since my pad has a built-in pillow. A hatchet and knife. So I have these in the want pile because I would never bring a giant hatchet and a giant knife. I may bring a small knife or a small pair of scissors, but like if you're not into woodworking or something like that, why would you bring a giant hatchet? Maybe you want to throw it at some trees or something for fun. Maybe I would bring it then. That sounds way more fun than just carrying it in my pack and not using it at all. So a flashlight, like I said, a headlamp is what I bring. A headlamp's going to be much more useful. This thing weighs a ton. There's probably lighter ones out there, especially some cool ones that can clip to your cap, and so if you want to go with a flashlight, just make sure it's a lighter, smaller one. This guy's too big and too heavy, so I would never bring it. So before I get into a couple things over here, let's go back over to needs, and here is kind of my, toiletry bag. I have my toothbrush, toothpaste, lotion, and foot glide. This is something I don't know if I would bring, especially if it's just a few day trip, but I kind of like having the security of having it in there in case my feet start having problems. One thing I want to say about this is there's ways to reduce your weight here. You can have a lighter toothbrush, which I know sounds ridiculous, but there are people out there who drill holes in their toothbrush. I haven't done that yet, but I've thought about it. Toothpaste, no need to carry an entire tube, especially a large tube. Like I have a small tube completely full here. I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna bring this and bring one that's half full. What else? So water, I carry around smart water bottles. They're really lightweight, really easy to use and durable. I've bought like a few over the last year, and I've used the same exact ones. Just wash them and reuse them, and that's what's great about them, is they're really reusable. Do not bring something like this. This is a Hydro Flask. I love this guy for when I'm just kind of traveling around town and need some water for myself, and it keeps things really, really cold for up to like 12 to 24 hours even. But it weighs so much more, and it's just unnecessary. I've never felt the need to absolutely have like cold water out on the trail. Room temperature water is gonna hydrate you just the same. So I have something in the need pile over here that could go in the one pile, but I thought it was important to talk about it at least. I just have some extra paracord. This would be used to stake out my tent a little bit better, especially on a windy night. I've never actually done that ever. Typically I'm in my tent if it's really windy and rainy, so I'm weighing down the tent, and if a stake comes out, I will probably know about it and I can just go out there and fix it. If a stake comes out, I can also go out there and put some paracord on it. So that could be one reason why you need this, but I typically don't, so it could go in the one pile. I also carry around a bandana or a couple bandanas. These are great to wipe sweat, blow your nose. If it's clean, you can wipe down your tent if it's really wet before you put it away. So bandana has probably about 1 million different uses out on the trail. I'd recommend that. Something you may want but don't necessarily need is something similar. This is like an REI towel, super absorbent towel. It would be nice to maybe have something like this, but something smaller. This thing is just way too big, way too heavy, and it's a little overboard if you need something out on the trail just to clean things up a little. This is debatable as well. I carry around a camp seat or a butt pad. This is the Thermarest Z pad. It's super lightweight, I think like 2 ounces or 3 ounces. You can decide to either leave this at home or bring with you, but I like to have it just to have a nice comfy place to sit at all times, a nice dry place to sit. So I feel like that is something I need out on the trail. So need, I kind of forgot about this in my last video, but I definitely want to talk about it in this video, and that's my GPS messenger, like an emergency messenger beacon. This is the Spot Gen 3. It gives me a lot of assurance to be out on the trail and have something like this, so I can contact my family and send them a message saying that I'm okay. They can see exactly where I'm at on the trail, and I've used this stuff a bunch, especially on my trip in Colorado, and I think my family really liked that I had this in my pack, and I really like it too. I was actually thinking about using it when I got lost out on the trail in Colorado, but hadn't even busted out my compass yet, so I wasn't in that bad of shape. So I think that goes over all the small things that I want to go over that you absolutely need, but there's a couple things over in the want pile that you could think about that could go in your need pile, but I typically would just leave at home. A couple of fun things would maybe be like a hacky sack. I love to hacky sack. I may even bring this if I'm camping with a group or backpacking with a group. There's a yo-yo. I don't know if y'all watch Jupiter Hikes. He's an amazing blogger for backpacking. He said he carried 5 yo-yos his first backpacking trip. It's kind of funny, but it could be fun and to use a yo-yo out on the trail. But I'm not going to bring it. It doesn't even have a string, so that's like a 10-year-old yo-yo. So lastly, I guess I want to talk about clothes. So I have just one pair of wool socks sitting over here, and I just want to say how important it is to choose the right clothes. Choose something like synthetic or wool. So I have a couple things over here. I have my shorts. These are the Patagonia 9 Trail shorts. They're synthetic, super lightweight, and I think they have a liner in them that is made out of like a capilene material, so it actually will wick away moisture and keep you smelling a little bit better, according to what they say. I have a synthetic shirt that's really lightweight, and a down jacket. I don't know if I'm gonna definitely bring this on every single backpacking trip, because in the summer in Texas it is even extremely hot in the middle of night. But it's a good idea to have a down jacket for maybe 3 out of the 4 seasons in your pack, just in case it gets cold. Hypothermia is a real thing and you don't want it to happen to you. Also, a rain jacket is a necessity out on the trail. This is the Marmot Precip rain jacket. It's a little heavy, but I actually have some frog dogs coming in the mail that weigh almost nothing. So rain jacket's definitely a necessity. Don't wear cotton out there. Fleece may sound nice, but it may only be used as like a mid-layer or something like that for winter backpacking. Not really necessary. Okay, so I just go over everything, make sure I didn't miss anything. Actually, I missed this. This is the plunger for the Sawyer Squeeze water filter. This is something that you may want out on the trail to back flush your filter if it gets clogged. But typically, if you're just going out for 2 or 3 days, your filter's not going to get clogged, and you can get it home and back flush it at home. So I put that in my want pile as something that I may actually want for a longer backpacking trip, but isn't necessary for most. I think that's about everything, but I did want to talk a little bit about one other really important thing, which is your backpack. So like I said, I started off backpacking with my Osprey Ether 60, and this pack was just way too much for me. It has a bunch of features that I don't need, like a built-in day pack, and some hip belts. I actually don't like hip belts. I know a lot of people could go a different way on that, but my plan is to actually change this out for the Gossamer Gear Mariposa 60, and I will save 3 pounds by just switching my pack. So your main 3 for backpacking, your backpack, tent, and sleeping pad, if I can cut my weight down by 3 pounds just by changing my pack, and I feel like that pack is actually going to be built a lot better for me and will be a lot more comfortable for me, then I would say make that choice. If you're new to backpacking, you may not want to make this extravagant of a choice for your pack right off the bat. Maybe a better option, especially if you don't have a pack yet or all of your gear yet, to get all your gear first, and then maybe check out like Amazon or used gear website and see if you can find something for a little bit cheaper until you really know what you want out of a pack, and then you can make that large purchase. You may have seen this back here. This is the Gossamer Gear Kumo 36. Some people actually backpack with this, which is pretty crazy. But my gear is way too heavy and large for this pack. But this will be a really great pack for me in the winter, because I can just throw like everything in there, like my puffy jacket, my rain jacket, all my camera gear and stuff, and it'll hold that weight really well. Even though it's only like a little over a pound. So I'll probably do a review on this. It still has the tags on it even, so I haven't even taken it out yet. But I'm really excited to give it a try. So that kind of covers everything. I would really recommend to you to bring out all your gear and kind of separate it like this, things you need versus things you want. It'll really help you figure out what you actually need out on the trail, and you can leave home anything you're not going to use. I think that's everything. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.